I think that life has to be simple. It has to be easy to understand. It has to be consistent in the beginning, in our thinking about it. And then as we expand on that and are forced by life to deal with the more complex things that spring from everything we do, everything we think, everything that affects us. As we deal with those things, we expound on the simple things that we understand from the beginning. And all of life is like this. One of the things I said earlier, probably in the first of this series, was that truth is so important to us, because we can't make good decisions without having good information, and the good information is derived from knowing the truth. And I said then, I'm going to say it again now, it is very, very difficult to get the truth about anything. And I said then, and I'm going to repeat this again now, I have made at least 2 videos where I tried to just discuss the importance of truth and how difficult it is to have, but how precious it was to Betty, my wife, and me to have it, to have truth. And we insisted on it in our family, and still do. If you have problems with us as being family members, those we deal with and love, the biggest trouble you can get yourself in with Grandma Betty or Papa Luke is to not be truthful. Whatever you did to get in trouble to start with is only compounded by us not being able to deal with the truth. So I'm going to present to you a concept today which I believe to be the truth, and I believe to be the simplest place to start to try to have the life that you want for yourself and for your children and your grandchildren. I'm going to divide it into 2 things. Order, O-R-D-E-R. We must have order. And in order to talk about order, we must also talk about its counterpart, or its opponent, or its nemesis, and that is chaos. C-H-A-O-S. Or you could use a prefix on the word order and call it disorder. But I think chaos is more accurate. Chaos is extreme disorder. I believe that for us to have the kind of life that we all want, that we all desire for ourselves and for the ones we love, we must have as much order in our lives as we can get, and we must eliminate as much chaos as we possibly can. And that basic premise is where I'm going to begin for the purpose of the next discussion, maybe the next few discussions about, or several discussions about where we're going in our pursuit of happiness. In the first of these videos, you met 3 of my great-grandchildren. The youngest, a little girl that's about 3 years old, and her name's Lou. Her actual name is Aurora, and her middle name is Lou. Most of us call her Lou. And I'm pleased that we do, because I never liked Aurora as a name. It's hard to pronounce. Reminded me of an Oldsmobile. I like Lou a lot better than Aurora. She is the youngest of my great-grandchildren. And then you met Dawson. His middle name's Luke. I also have a grandson whose first name is Zachary, and his middle name is Luke. Inasmuch as I lobbied for us to call Aurora Lou, there was a time when I was lobbying for us to call Zachary Z. Luke and Dawson D. Luke. But we'd already settled long ago on Zachary, and I never could get Z. Luke and D. Luke put in there. And the third of these precious children that you met was Jackson. I think Jackson's 6. He might be 7. I think Dawson's 5. He might be 6. Lou, I'm pretty sure, is 3. 3 young people. And I'm going to use them to demonstrate the basic principle of order and disorder, and how simple it is, and actually how easy it is to have in its simplest and most basic form. On the video the other day, I asked those 3 youngsters, "Where are you?" And they said, "We're at your place." And we expanded that to they were at Papa Luke's and Grandma Betty's. And when they are here, they have a code of behavior that they adhere to. I'm not going to tell you whether I think they have that same code everywhere they go or not. I'll let you surmise that over time. But I will say that when they are here, they are, number 1, aware that they're here. They are, number 2, most generally glad that they're here. They enjoy being here. They look forward to being here. Number 3, they understand that being here means that certain things happen. There are rules here. Papa Luke and Grandma Betty have rules. And those 3, as young as they are, if you ask them, do Papa Luke and Grandma Betty have rules? They'll say yes. And if you ask them what the rules are, they can expound on a lot of the rules. And if you just came here as a casual observer and was over somewhere being quiet for 2 or 3 or 4 times when we have our family together out here, and you just stayed on the sidelines and observed those 3 youngsters, you would know that they do know what the rules are. And they know where things are and what they can do and what they can't do. And they know that when they want to do something, they have to ask someone, most generally. And if you ask them questions in return, like, Papa, can we get such and such a thing to play with? And if you say, do you know where it is? They say yes. And depending on what it is, they know where it is, where it's kept. Because it's kept in the same place. all the time. And so they know where to go and get what they asked if they could play with. Not only that, they know that when they're finished playing with that, it gets collected, put in its container, and put back in its place. So the next time they don't have to, it's the same thing the next time. When they want to play with it, they know where it is. They know where Grandma Betty keeps it. They know where Papa Luke keeps it. And they know it's going to be there because that's where it's supposed to be. And when they got finished with it, that's where they put it the last time. Now, did they ever not adhere to those rules? Of course. Of course. They're little kids. But did they ever not adhere to those rules and not be corrected, not be reminded, not have it enforced or put in place that this is what happens when we do this or that? No. That didn't happen. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes they get away from here having violated a rule, but they left on Sunday afternoon, and Monday morning or Tuesday afternoon when I was mowing, or I found a violation of one of the rules in a place it wasn't supposed to be. The next time I saw them, I said, "Hey, guess what? Guess where I found such and such?" Oh, they know that wasn't supposed to happen. My point here is that if children that young can learn things in that detail and understand that it happens that way or it doesn't happen, and not only that, but get to where in their lives they count on it happening that way, it's as vital for them for it to happen that way as it is for the people that impose the rules on them to have it happen that way. If that can happen with people of that age, it should be able to happen with anybody. And my point about that is, life is better for everyone if we have order, a place for everything in its place. We have rules which are a part of order. This is how it is. This is what we do. This is what happens if we don't do it. And that those children love me and their grandmother in spite of the fact that we have rules and insist upon them and enforce them. They don't dislike us because we imposed those things on them. They don't know it yet, but we have actually made their lives better. I'm probably wasting too much time on this, but Betty says, "Okay, Luke, I get it." About the third time I say something to her when we're having a discussion about something that we maybe originally disagreed on. Doesn't slow me down. I try to tell her a fourth time or a fifth time till, I think repetition's important sometimes when you have to learn a lesson. So I'm going to pound on this. You're being introduced to it in this video, and this video may be short and that's all you get introduced to. I'm not sure yet. But you're going to understand how important I think that is. You have to have order. I will go so far as to say this. If you have a child and that child's life is more chaotic than it is orderly, in my opinion, that's child abuse. You're abusing a child that you do that to. Now I'm going to go beyond that and give you some examples. And I'm going to probably get myself, I won't be in trouble, but I'll be either stepping on somebody's toes or they'll be thinking that I'm unrealistic or unfair to them for mentioning it, but they're going to know I'm talking to them. Not just them, you. If you're listening to this video, I want you to think about your situation. You're Mrs. McGillicuddy from Hoboken, Nebraska. And you turned on this old man talking about order and chaos. And the next thing he says to you hurts your feelings or offends you. He said, if you got disorder in your children's family and your grandchildren's lives, if they've got more chaos than they've got order, you're a child abuser. I hope that smacked you right upside the head and got your attention. Now I'm going to say that I can walk in your house, somebody I don't even know, never met. I can walk up on your porch, get a general idea. I can come through your front door and look at your house when I happened on it unexpectedly, and I can make a pretty accurate judgment about what kind of children are in this house, whether they behave or not, what kind of attention that you're paying to them, and whether they have order or chaos in their life just by looking at the way you keep house. And it doesn't have to be perfect. But my goodness, it deserves a better effort than it gets most of the time. And it's damaging to children. The first and foremost place that you provide order in the people you love's life is in how you maintain your premises. Are they orderly? Is there a place for everything? Is everything in its place? Are things clean? Can we know what to expect? When we need something, do we know where to go get it? When we want something, can we find it? That in of itself seems pretty simple. But when you take that as a beginning and then you expand it into all the places that we can go from there and all the different aspects and things based on that as a beginning that we can complicate lives with, I'm telling you that we all need order and we all need to eliminate chaos. And the beginning of order is organization and rules and everybody understanding them, knowing how they're supposed to work, and then our ability to discipline ourselves to keep them simple and organized and working the way they're supposed to has effect on how happy we can be, how efficient we are in our lives. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to end this video. That's enough for you to chew on. I'm going to come back in the next video and remind you how this one started and what the only conclusion of it was. We need order, as much order as we can get in our lives. We need the absence of chaos. We need to eliminate as much of it as we can in our lives. That's the premise of this video. We're going to continue that discussion in the next video and discuss and talk about those things. I want you to just think about that in your life. And some of you are going to be overwhelmed by it. So the next time we're going to talk about how do we go back to square one and get that when what we have is so far from that that it seems like we can't get it. I'm going to remind you what I said, I think the last video, when I said it's never too late to start. Today, I want you to make the decision, make the choice that it's important that you have order in your lives, and make a commitment to develop the system and the structure and the basis for having order. And then I want us to go to work on it. I'd like to think of a way to make this video a little bit more fun, but I can't. This is not a fun video, and I didn't give you much to look forward to the next time, I don't think. This is one of them times where I'm just going back to what I think's basic, and I'm doing it because I love you, and I think your life will be better for it if you can just grasp this little simple thing that I'm talking about and incorporate it into that big complicated mess of a life that you have, and start with this and let it be the beginning of a change for the better in our pursuit of happiness. Till the next time, I'm a Hard Times Guy.